Hi, I'm Alison Parker, and this is the Ireland edition of Film Bouillabaisse, live from the Cliffs of Moher. As always, with me is
Logan Albright. Cheerio, y'all.
So we really thought a long time about what we were going to do for our Live in Ireland episode.
We sure did, Allison. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well,
and we decided that what better movie to talk about on a sea cliff right here overlooking the ocean than a movie about a lighthouse.
Called The Lighthouse,
Appropriately enough.
starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Excellent cast, I would say.
A cast of two, might you say.
It's very play-like in that there's very few characters in it, and you just kind of live with them for the entire duration of the movie, which is great because it's a pure acting film.
It's shot in black and white, and while it is hallucinatory, it is pretty chronological, so you shouldn't have a problem following along the plot.
That's also true. It's also shot in 4:3 aspect ratio, which was a little bit distracting for me at first seeing it in the theater because you have this big wide screen and you get a little square picture. But you forget about that shortly and just get immersed in the film.
Now, this has somewhat been marketed as a horror film. I don't know that that's true, but if you've seen Guy Madden's Keyhole, you kind of know what to expect.
I wouldn't call it a horror film, but it
Not
is
at
very
all.
psychological and very, I would say, disturbing anyway.
Hallucinatory.
I found it disturbing. Unsettling anyway.
Willem Dafoe's performance was off the Richter.
Magical. That guy,
Ethereal.
I feel that Willem Dafoe does not get enough credit as an actor. He's been turning in consistently great performances for like 30 years. No one ever gives him credit. He's fantastic. He's great in this.
Now, if you really like him, you should definitely do some backlist reading with the Florida Project.
Yes.
And Into the Gates or
Right.
something, which was about a famous painter.
Also, Deep Cut, Streets of Fire, 1984, one of his first roles. Fantastic.
And he's also done a Lars von Trier film. So the film is very evocative, and it makes you feel like you're cold and in the rain at a lighthouse.
Absolutely. There's a lot of like maintenance of the lighthouse scenes, and there's a lot of rain coming in and storms and repairing things and dealing with seabirds and things like that. And yeah, you very much feel as if you're there.
I always like that because I always want to know about everyone else's jobs and what they do and what the day-to-day living is like. And after you know this film, you'll know exactly what it's like to live in a lighthouse.
Yes. I was impressed by the vocal performances of both actors because Willem Dafoe is doing sort of an old sea salt, like Captain Ahab sort of voice, which Robert Pattinson calls him out on at one point, which is pretty funny. And then Robert Pattinson's doing sort of an old-fashioned New York accent.
A nascent freshman sailor performance by Robert Pattinson.
Sort of like Daniel Day-Lewis did in Gangs of New York. That's what it made me think of, that accent. Old-fashioned New York. I also say that there's a surprising amount of comedy in this film, considering how dark it is overall.
Choppy, like the water out back. No, seriously, if you ever come to Ireland, particularly Galway, where we're near, you should definitely come up to the Cliffs of Moher. It is an eye-opening experience, and
My eyes are wide open, baby.
and
Wide open.
crisp air.
That lovely Atlantic sea breeze.
I'm very cold. Are we gonna have peas for dinner?
We're definitely going to have peas for dinner. Tell us what else we should know about the lighthouse before we wrap it up and get back on our bus.
Okay, so everything from here on out, spoiler territory. Now, the big twist of the film, last chance, spoilers, is you find out that the characters both have the same name of John. And it is revealed that Willem
Thomas.
Dafoe... Damn it. It's revealed that both characters are named Thomas. And Willem Dafoe, who's the older character, is named Thomas Wake. And I think that's interesting because he's the one that's sentient. He's the one that knows all of the things. So maybe the two actors are playing different versions of the same character. One that's older and has all the facts, and then the younger one that's just starting out. So I think that the last name Wake is not a coincidence.
That's an interesting interpretation, one that I don't necessarily share, but I find it very interesting and intriguing, and I'm glad that you came up with it and brought it to light here on this lovely YouTube channel that you've started.
Great.
Thanks for joining us here in the lovely Emerald Isle of Ireland, and I hope that you will check back real soon and see our next film review on Film Bouillabaisse. We've been keeping it real, haven't we?
Keeping it so real.
All right.
In Ireland. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
A nascent a nascent. Oh, this is gonna.
We'll edit that in so it'll be smooth and not awkward at all.